Are you looking to upgrade your shop with this Epson SureColor G6070? I went into all of the behind the scenes and dug deep into this DTF printer to see if this is something that you should take a look at and you should spend your hard-earned money on. There is a lot of red flags with this DTF printer, but there's also a couple of green ones too. So making sure that you know all of the different parts, all of the aspects, and taking all of those into account to ensure that this is a DTF printer that's going to be right for you and your business is going to be what I aim to do in this video. Okay, so when I was actually diving into all of the research and the details for this printer, I kind of had to do some triple checks because there were a couple things that I just straight up didn't even understand could be possible coming from someone as established as Epson. So breaking into everything right away, let's just go over a couple of the specs for this DTF printer. So those of you guys who know, this is a 35-inch wide DTF printer, which if you guys can't tell, the DTF printers that we have behind me are actually 24 inches wide. So we'll get into why that might be important a little bit later in this video, but you can accommodate smaller rolls if you want to. Just know that it's made to go up to 35 inches wide. And for the brains of the whole printer, we have what Epson is calling the Precision Core Micro TFP printhead. And guys, for those of you who have watched my videos before on the channel, you know that I'm an i3200 printhead all day, every day. So again, we'll get into all of that and what that means for your business. But spoiler again, this single head aspect is going to be a big thing that you need to take note of, because this is either going to be the difference between you expecting to get up to 6 meters per hour and maybe even downwards of 1.7 to 3 meters per hour. And again, we'll get into what all of this means later in this video, so stick around, grab a snack. We have a lot to go. Guys, this printer, I'm telling you, I can't even get over how crazy some of this stuff is. I really just didn't believe that they would have a single print head system. How are they only having one head on this DTF printer? That's crazy. So Epson was able to kind of manufacture this from their sublimation line of printers that they have previously. So this is something that they retrofitted to make work for DTF transfers, making it actually fit a film. So with all of that said, it actually is a pretty space efficient machine. If you do load it correctly, you don't need to have access to the actual back of the machine, because you can load the DTF film right from the front, and that way you don't even have to go in the back of it. You can push it right up against the wall, put it in the corner. You can actually have it butting against two different walls. So you can have it literally in the corner of your shop if that's something that you wanted to do for your layout. But another thing that I really wanted to note, and this is again the biggest thing probably about this printer besides the actual single head print head, it's proprietary, literally everything. So you're going to need special film. You're going to need to use the special Epson proprietary bagged ink. And we'll get into the pricing and all of that special fun details later in this video. But again, proprietary up the wazoo. But there's still some really cool features that do come with this DTF printer. You get a cutter. The touchscreen is honestly pretty cool. I wish that my DTF printers had even close to the amount of information that they're showing you on that touchscreen. It does come with Fiery Digital Factory. Out of the box, it's a special Epson and Fiery Digital Factory, as well as the Epson Print Edge software. So you get all of this stuff bundled, included with your DTF printer. You don't have to buy any of this stuff separately when you do purchase from one of Epson's licensed dealers. One of those things that when you're buying from Epson, you got to play their game, and it's going to be, you want to play in our yard, you got to play with our tools type of deal. But there's still, again, genuinely cool things that come with this DTF printer that I personally don't have with the Chinese printers behind me, a mobile app being one of them. Now, how useful that's actually going to turn out to be day to day is going to be another thing. The thing about this DTF printer is it's super freaking quiet. From all of the different videos that I was able to see in my research, I don't know if you guys can hear, but I have another DTF printer running in the background, and that printer, I can hear it pretty clearly right now. From the videos that I saw, you were not able to hear the DTF printer running from even how far away I am from the camera now. It's a very quiet machine, and depending on where you end up putting this machine, if it is in an office, if it is in a spare bedroom perhaps, that's going to be something that you want, because these DTF printers, especially when you have the shakers running, they're loud, and that's something that you're going to hear all day, all night. And then when you're going to bed and you're putting your head on your pillow, I don't know about any of you guys, but I hear that literal, like the tapping on the film when I'm putting my head down on the pillow. That's how it is when you're here and you're listening to that sound all day, every day. So I noticed that, to say the least, and that was pretty interesting. Okay, so who should avoid this DTF printer? I know that I said before, if you do have it in like a bedroom, a spare office, something like that, the quiet is going to come to your benefit. But I would say if you're someone who, like, you just started your business, if you are running it out of a spare bedroom and office, the videos that I was watching, the guy said that he had to completely like disassemble it to get it through a standard doorway. So they do say that it's possible to fit it in a normal standard doorway here in the US. You just have to disassemble the printer to a lot of different bones of the components. So with all of that to say, I would say if you're a startup, if you have a bedroom, a home-based business, if you have time to spare, I would definitely not get this DTF printer, because I would say that the person who should be buying it is the exact opposite of that. It's someone who does have a printing business, who wants to add DTF to their shop, but they don't want to spend the time either training, either learning themselves, because if they are someone who wants to add DTF, they don't know how to operate the machinery themselves. So spending the time to learn the equipment and learn the ropes is not appealing to every single print shop out there. And if you can just buy a system like this and honestly, for better or worse, click print from your computer, I think that that's a pretty compelling reason to really give a serious look to this DTF printer. So with all of that to say though, considering the cost of your total ownership over the time you're going to be able to use, operate, and actually make some money on this DTF printer is going to be the whole thing. So it's going to start obviously with the price tag of the printer. You need a way to cure the DTF transfers as they're being printed. So with all of that to say, we are just coming off of the heels on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We were able to see some deals for this whole Epson DTF printing system as low as $14,495. And I say as low, this is basically across the board. Everybody who is an Epson dealer, they seem to have the same price. I think that that is possibly something to do with Daddy Epson actually controlling what the MSRP and the sell value of these DTF printers is. So the sticker price around $14,500. Depending on the distributor that you buy from, this can actually change. So make sure that you do look around the startup pack that actually comes with the DTF printer. So with this, you're going to get some startup film, some startup ink, and supplies to get you up and running. So making sure that you're buying it from a good distributor who's cutting you a good deal is something that I would really look into, because there's a bunch of people selling this specific system. Depending on which dryer you want to go with, you can get, there's like two that Epson actually recommends. You can get either one from a number of different distributors and suppliers. So for the rest of this video though, we're going to be focusing on three main things. We're going to be focusing on the cost of the ink, the speed, and the maintenance that you can work with, that you can achieve with this given DTF printer. So let's just face the facts right off the bat. In terms of like the raw cost of your supplies, you're going to be paying about 3 times as much for the Epson Genuine everything. That means the Epson Genuine film, the Epson Genuine ink. So when it actually does come to the ink, that's going to be the big thing, because I can use bulk ink tanks and just fill it up using any ink that I want to. And obviously there is going to be a quality that comes with that. But Epson, with the way that they have designed this DTF printer, you're going to be using their cartridge style ink bags. So all of that to say, you're going to be paying a lot for the privilege of buying the Epson consumables. And that's going to be the main target of what we're going to be calling investigation number 1, the golden handcuffs.
You clearly own a business, and if you're not using AI at least some point in your life, in your work, in your business, you're really not doing things right. Let me introduce you to DesignGen. This is the tool, the platform that I built. So before you skip ahead, at least give me a chance. This is my own ad, my own sponsor spot. I'm just trying to show you guys the power of AI and some of the designs that are actually possible to be created now. So if you guys are still asking your designers to actually create different designs for your concepts, for your clients, you're really not doing it right. AI has gotten so good, and the models that we have in DesignGen are literally the best in the world. And so much so, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. You guys can sign up and generate 100 designs per month for free. So you guys want to sign up, try DesignGen.com. Let me know any feedback. You guys can go down to the help, give feedback. This goes straight to my email. So if you guys want to help influence the platform, be one of the early adopters to this whole AI train and get on board, try DesignGen.com.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom. I know that if you guys have made it this far into the video, you're probably thinking the same, but I want to go over a couple of good things that can come when you do buy an ink system from Epson and you are in the whole ecosystem buying the genuine products. So with that, they were able to get an EcoText EcoPassport certification on the ink. And for those of you guys who don't know what that means, it may not be the biggest deal to you, but if you are someone who does know what that means, this is a huge deal because this essentially allows you to say that your product is safe for kids. So that can be a huge stamp of approval. If you're able to say that your t-shirts that you're providing the school, the organization, the church, whatever it is, are certified safe from the school, and you can even stamp that EcoText passport on all of your products on your website, whatever it is, that could possibly, potentially justify that price of the ink and using the whole ink tank mixing bag system that comes with this DTF printer. But that's to say, those of you guys who have been down this road before, if you have an Epson printer at home, you probably know where they're going with this. And that's going to be the chips and the DRM locking you in to only using their ink and making sure that you can't use anything else. Because when you actually do start looking at the fine print and start reading into the details here, you have to make sure that you are using only Epson genuine brand ink, because the other ink packs that are like made from other suppliers and other manufacturers, they're saying are not going to be compatible and may not function properly or at all. So those of you guys who have normal desktop printers from Epson at home, you may have tried getting some of that third-party ink on Amazon because it's like a quarter of the price. And only to find out that when you do insert that ink cartridge, it shows up like an unrecognized or some weird error, and you can't even use the ink that you just bought. Imagine that, but for your $35,000 DTF printer, or in this case, your $21,000 DTF printer, and kind of the whole heart of your business. It's crazy, guys. That's crazy. How are they gonna, like, if you are considering buying a printer with cartridges or anything where you can't use like a bulk ink tank, bro, I would run. I would avoid that like the plague. Okay, so you might be thinking that, okay, well, they're using their own proprietary ink. It's probably going to be super fast, right? That's where I would have thought too, but I was sadly wrong and mistaken. So for this DTF printer, you're only going to be looking at 3 meters per hour. Compared to the ones that we have back there, they're running at 6 meters per hour, 48 meters per day, 24 meters per day on the Epson one. So this is all a result of that print head that is actually included on the DTF printer. This Epson DTF print head is something that Epson has developed specifically for DTF, specifically for the ink that DTF uses with those pigments that are typically known for settling. So Epson has developed this print head specifically for DTF, but they only ended up putting one of them in there. So for the printers that you see behind me, those are 2 heads. And as you saw, they print 6 meters per hour. These are only printing 3 meters per hour because they have half as many heads. It doesn't make sense to me why they would do this. I'm interested to see if they're going to start maybe selling these print heads on like to companies like Audey. That would be pretty cool if they were able to like start selling these on the market to other manufacturers. But I kind of think that they won't because it feels like they would be stupid to do that. If they're able to only package them in their own printer system, charge a boatload for it, and kind of say that they're the only ones that are doing it. And the whole other thing about using only one manufacturer brand of ink is that that comes with a lot of supply chain risks. I came across not one, but 2 people who were not able to buy the ink and the supplies that they needed to buy for their business because Epson was not able to get them any. Their distributor was not able to actually source. I think it was literally months that this person had to go where they were not able to get white ink for their printer. And if those of you guys who do know you're in DTF printing, white ink is the one that we go through the most. Probably like, I mean, if you're using a bulk ink tank, I actually would like to know a little bit more about the usage per whatever per day that these printers are going to go through on the white ink. I only was able to come across in my research people talking about the color, and they were saying that it just like absolutely sips color ink. You're going to be able to get like a black bag of ink and it can last you months, which isn't too far off from like our bulk ink tanks, but we probably go through a bottle or like 1 liter of black ink every 3 to 4 weeks, and that's printing them every single day. So not being able to have a consistent, reliable supply of your DTF materials is a big thing to consider. There was a lot of things that kind of came up when they were launching this DTF printer and getting it in the hands of their distributors, in the hands of their consumers even. And like I said, there was numerous cases that you guys can go find and watch other people talking about their experiences, because unfortunately it was a little bit of, there was a lot of controversy that kind of plagued this launch. But with really all of that to say, 11 cents per milliliter of ink is wild. Like this is wild to me how they get off charging such a high amount for what is literally just like pigmented water. And obviously those of you guys who are already in the comments, I know it's not just pigmented water, but still 11 cents per milliliter. If you were to compare that, and I did, to the cost that we pay for our supplies and our materials from China, we buy it literally from the supplier, from Audey on Alibaba, from China, get it shipped over here on a boat, and we only pay 2 cents per milliliter of this is white ink too. So 2 cents per milliliter of white ink compared to 11 cents. That's insane, guys. That's insane. And remember, the DRM, those chips that are going to be on the bags for this ink, you're going to have to be using the Epson brand genuine ink. Yeah, this is unfortunately one of those things where I was left pretty disappointed. I was hoping that Epson was going to be able to make up some ground and actually maybe turn what is like the off-brand, the open source, the Chinese DTF printers on their heads. I was hoping for some pretty massive innovation, and it is disappointing to see that it's unfortunately slower and so much more expensive than an open source Chinese alternative. But with all of that said, you do get a couple of nice to haves. So that touchscreen, I got this screenshot from AW Productions on YouTube. He was actually interviewing the person who I was talking about earlier, who was having all of the trouble getting their supplies. So if you guys want more details, make sure you guys go subscribe to AW Productions. He puts out a ton of great content. But look at this information, guys. There's so much detailed information that is coming off of this touchscreen here. So it actually is keeping track in real time for you of the ink levels on the given cartridges here. So you can see that on the touchscreen. It has the nice temperature display, the humidity of the environment. And it also, look at this, guys. This is what some of the stuff, when you see it on other like L1800 or L1800, L800, when you see some of the other DTF printers, especially some of those converted ones, maybe even like the ProColor ones, you're going to hear them talking about the automated maintenance and this, that, and the other kind of schedule that they have set up for it. But look at what they actually have going on here with this Epson one. So they're saying that every 1.64, it's going to do a clog detection, which is what that like AI algorithm is that's going to be making sure that the nozzles are good to go. What allows for Epson to be making those claims of print and walk away. So every 1.64 feet, they're going to be looking at the print heads, looking at the actual like result that is being put down on the sheet and seeing if that is actually meeting the bar. And if there is any clogs in the nozzle, that it can then do its periodic cleanings on and take care of that completely automated for you. The other thing I really want to touch on is it keeps track of how much film is actually left in the roll. There's been too many times, I think honestly this week actually, the film ran out and then it ran all through the dryer. started printing on itself, and I had to come and run stop. It was a whole ordeal. So having the ability to actually keep track of how much is left, that's pretty cool. So there's some really nice to haves. You can't deny it. If you are looking for a DTF printer system and you don't have any experience, this is your first like go around into this industry, like that's going to be something that you're probably sitting there thinking, oh, that's pretty, I like that. But that 50% speed reduction, guys, it's a big deal, and it's something that you're really going to have to consider when you're thinking about buying this DTF printer. So you just want to know how many t-shirts you're going to be making per day. If you're making anywhere between like 50 and 80 t-shirts per day, this DTF printer system can actually work for you. And it can work really well because of everything that we've said before. It's just kind of plug and play, print and go.
The other thing is that DesignGen is going to actually give you some of the best-selling designs. So this isn't just about pretty pictures. And once you have your design created, the best thing about DesignGen is you can actually send a proof with the design that you just created directly to your client. If they don't like it, they can generate a variation, edit the design themselves completely with AI, all done completely without you even having to respond to an email, a phone call, anything. But those of us who do actually run print shops, we know that once we've gotten client AI designs before, it's been garbage, and we actually have to get them to a good point. That's why we have the best vectorizing software that exists built into DesignGen. Trust me, this literally took me forever to get just right for you guys. So if you are interested in actually getting your design from a raster to an SVG, the Vectorize in DesignGen, I would argue, is the best on the market. You don't have to download any special programs. You can do this all in your web browser, on your phone, on your computer. And the best part about all of this is once you actually have your design and it's ready to sell, you can also get it created on a mock-up, applied with AI, even generate different like photo shoot product shots. It's insane, guys. Check it out if you guys want to support me, support the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of the feedback, all of the support that you guys have given me so far on DesignGen. My whole mission with DesignGen is to actually make it the fastest way to bring an idea to reality. So if you guys think that they're actually getting close to fulfilling this goal, let me know in the feedback. If not, again, feedback is the best place to tell me that this thing sucks. Try DesignGen.com. Now let's get back to the video.
But if you're looking for something that is actually going to be like a workhorse for you and actually turn out some serious transfers, I don't know about that. You might want to look elsewhere. Check out some of my other videos here on the channel. If you want to see any of the other DTF printer guides, I have an intermediate and a beginner's guide already for 2025. But this print head is going to be one of the big things that is going to sell this DTF printer. When you're actually in the showroom, if you're at Grimco, if you're at GSG, whatever it is, and you're looking at the DTF printers, you're talking to the salesman, they're not going to be able to say, oh yeah, well, all of these other ones, they have i3200, but it has this, it has that. There's not going to be other DTF printers that have this specific precision core print head in it. And that's going to be something that they run with and they try and sell until the cows come home. So just make sure you keep that in mind. That automated nozzle verification technology, though, is going to be something that I want to wait and see. Is that exclusive to this specific print head? Is it like a camera system? How does all of that work? Is this something that we can see actually coming to other manufacturers down the line? So investigation number 3. We've been talking a lot about how this is a lot of automation, fancy technology and software that is going to be making this printer system kind of work for you. But that's going to come at a pretty high cost, and something that, again, just keep in mind when you're considering the total cost of ownership for a machine like this. So they actually kind of do something with the wiper unit that I have not seen or heard done before on other DTF printers or even printer systems in general. They use what they're calling like a fabric wiper system, which for those of you guys with DTF printers, you're used to that standard rubber one. And I mean, I didn't know that there was a need for anything else because the rubber ones worked fine for me. I've had a couple instances where the rubber has like started to slip, but I just had to tighten the screw and fix it. Like it was nothing too detrimental to it. So I wanted to know what their actual reasoning was for going with a fabric wiper versus the rubber one that's kind of tried and true at this point, and how that actually does perform, especially over time. Because that's where that is going to really come into play, is how that wiper is able to actually maintain the print head over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years. Real quick though, I kind of think it's funny that they're talking about like automated this and automated that, but they still say you have to shake the white ink every single day, like every morning before you start it up, and shake the colors every week. When like the DTF printer behind me there, that has agitators in it, so you don't even have to stir, like, and that's a dumb printer compared to a smart one. So yeah, I don't know about all of that. I feel like maybe that's a design flaw with their whole cartridge bag system. I actually do think that that's how Mimaki DTF printers are as well. Do you need to have like a way to shake the cartridges for the Mimaki ones or any other cartridge style DTF printer? Let me know in the comments if that's the case. But this is just crazy to me that that isn't something that is included when they do automate this, maintain that, and I just feel like that's a pretty big oversight. So with all of that automation though, it comes at a cost, and you're going to need to get these head cleaning sets, as Epson calls them. So that is a new wiper unit. So that fabric wiper thing that I was talking about kind of coming into play there, just another disposable item that Epson is going to be selling you. You have to get an entirely new capping station. So this is something that, again, they have taken from their existing heritage and history of products with printers, and for some reason brought it over to DTF printers because I guess just a normal waste ink tank isn't good enough. They have to make something that is special, that can perfectly accept your waste ink just absolutely perfectly. Whatever. So that's a part of it. Got to buy one of those every time they fill up. And you also have to buy a flushing pad. So all of this stuff is included in their head cleaning set. And it's not cheap too. So just take all of that into consideration. This is something that you have to buy once every year when you're using this Epson DTF printer. They recommend using a head cleaning set every year. So budget for that. The auto cutter blade, they also recommend replacing that. And the waste ink bottle, guys. This is unfortunately not an optional upgrade. That's going to bring me into the next point though. An actual like realistic look at the TCO, the total cost of ownership. So we were talking at the earlier beginning of this video, $14,495. When you do consider the cost of everything, that's including the dryer, the actual, this whole head cleaning set, and all of the yearly and normal maintenance that you're going to have to include with this printer, you're looking at a total startup cost of $22,500. And that's not including any of the annual recurring costs that we've already talked about. And it's also not including any potential hidden operational costs. Because one of the other things that Epson kind of sticks by with their whole support network is they really like you using the support network and not doing things yourself. So if something goes wrong, you got to give that Epson support rep a nice ring, have them come out. If it's covered under warranty, all right, that's great. But what about those times when it's not? Got to think about that too. So I made this nice decision matrix. Go ahead and pause, take a picture of your screen, do whatever you want to do. This should be your just golden grace for actually comparing all of the options. I went ahead and put 4 different paths that I think probably the average person who made it this far along in the video is considering. Path number 1 is that Epson. It's the integrated OEM system, the whole 9 yards, the ink, the film, all of it. Number 2 is the system where it's someone like Mimaki. They have that brand name, they have the support, but it's not exactly Epson. And then you have like a US resale. Someone like DTF Superstore. Those are going to be companies here in the US offering support in the US, but ultimately reselling Chinese machines. Or you could go the path that we went. We literally bought our DTF printer straight from the manufacturer in China, had it shipped to us in a crate. If you guys want to see more about those videos, I have a whole couple of years worth of videos here on the channel. So go watch any of those if you want to see more behind the scenes. But that's the path that we took. We directly imported our DTF printers, all 4 of the ones that you see behind me. And with all of that to say, you just have to know who you are. Are you someone who likes to tinker, you like to play around, and you like to make things work? Or are you someone who you need it to work and there's no alternative if it doesn't? And the other thing that you can't go without considering, and a lot of people just get caught up in the hype and forget, is those consumables, guys. You have to know, are you going to be able to just simply keep up with the demand that you have? only being able to produce 50 to 80 t-shirts per day? Or are you going to be able to get your price to a point where being able to afford some of these consumables and having your price increase whatever amount, if you are buying supplies from China, to now you're going to be switching over to this Epson genuine stuff? Epson, is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be something where your customers are going to pay more for it potentially? Because that could lead to scenarios where you're either taking less profit because you're now operating this Epson machine, or your customers are getting priced out of your products because you had to increase that to keep your margin. Again, that's not to say this is a bad printer. It really can be a good one if you are in that sweet spot. If you're someone who you have a print shop, you just want a DTF printer so that you can start offering one-offs to that Joe Schmo that comes into your shop asking for some birthday shirts or whatever it is, this printer really could be compelling. But I think it's just knowing all of these potentially even hidden costs, because like I said before, Epson doesn't make a lot of this stuff very known. It's not very easy to find all of this information, and you have to buy it through their ecosystem, their walled garden, if you will. And that, I know, can make a lot of people just feel uneasy and not feel like you're actually getting a good deal. So hopefully by watching all of this and kind of just seeing what some of these hidden behind the scenes costs can really turn out to be, that you'll be able to make a better decision for you and your company going forward. Are you going to consider the Epson G6070 DTF printer? Or are you going to look at maybe a Mimaki, maybe even consider one of those Chinese ones behind me? If you are, I have a video that you can watch right now on how to buy your DTF printer from Audey on Alibaba. I walked through the whole steps, the actual rep, who to contact, all of it. Check out that video. I'll put it right here. If you enjoyed it, get subscribed. I'll see you guys in the next video.